I have never heard of Cala D'Or before, but my wife went out there for a girly weekend. She absolutely loved it, so we thought it was about time we had a little family adventure. Here's what we got up to over 3 sunny days in Mallorca's laid-back coastal gem. Day 1 started the best way possible with breakfast at Bistro Noir. Great coffee, fantastic food, friendly staff, the perfect little spot to ease into holiday mode. 10 minutes later and we were here in Cala Gran, and wow, it is a massive beach. The water is stunning, it's crystal clear. It was so good for a relaxed beach morning. By afternoon we were wandering around. We had no plan whatsoever. And that naturally led us to having some cocktails. We went to Atlantis and the cocktails were incredible. I had a Mai Tai and a Zombie, which has got to be one of the best Mai Tais I've had in a long time. Rach had a couple of Negronis, and our son absolutely loved his non-alcohol mocktails. After these cocktails, we decided to have a look around the shop. Our son was in search for a Labubu for some reason, and he was also incredibly excited in telling us about a brain rot teddy bear he saw. Now, if you've got kids, then no doubt you'll know what he's talking about. Dinner was down in the Marina, a bit of a walk from the centre of Cala D'Or. So along the way, we obviously had to have a cheeky sangria stop. The Marina is beautiful, calm, scenic, full of great little bars. We ended our first night at Petit. Great food overlooking the boats as the sun set, a perfect way to start the trip. Day 2 kicked off at Pinsey's Picnic, a cute little breakfast spot that quickly became our favourite. Then it was straight to Cala Esmeralda. Now this beach is beautiful. There are turquoise waters, relaxed atmosphere. Honestly, we could have stayed here all day. In the evening, we ended up going back to the Marina and found Sky Bar just in time for the sunset, just looking over the Marina as the day turns to night. Perfection. Dinner that night was at Cala D'Or, a lovely local restaurant with amazing food. The beef tartare was another level. A slower, more relaxed day, but exactly what holidays are made for. Day 3 started with us hunting around for a breakfast. We were looking everywhere, but eventually ended up back at the Marina and went to Waves, and I had a really nice tomato bruschetta. It's such a nice spot to start the day. So today we wanted to go to 2 beaches. The first one we checked out was Cala Petit, and this is a very small beach, but it is incredibly beautiful. So it is worth getting there early as it does get full pretty quickly. We spent most of the morning in the sea. We wanted to go check out the other beach, and that was quite a bit away. So first up was a quick sangria. The walk to Cala was long. It took around about 30 minutes. It is beautiful, although unfortunately it's next to some really big hotels, so by the time we got there it was pretty busy. It was our last evening in Cala D'Or, so we wanted to wrap up the holiday in the best way possible. We went back to the Marina and enjoyed Churchill's, where we had some proper Spanish tapas. On the way back to the hotel that night, we had to stop off for one more cocktail, and they even came with sparklers, which our son absolutely loved. Our final morning was pretty relaxed. We got a late flight, so it was perfect for doing a little bit of shopping around Cala D'Or. While shopping, we found a fairly new restaurant in Cala D'Or called Macao, and it has got to be one of our favorites. The food was incredible, and it is so nice just watching the world go by whilst enjoying good food and having a couple of glasses of wine. And of course, we had to have one last swim in the hotel pool before heading home. So Cala D'Or really impressed me. It is such a beautiful place. You have so many beaches nearby. The marina's gorgeous. There's so many laid back bars and restaurants. It was the perfect family escape. If you do want to see more on the meals that we had, then do check out this next video.